Hey, alien, what you doing out there? It's a little cold out there. You want to come in? Evening, Earthling. I do not want to come in. Alright, well, suit yourself. Stay out there then. Freaking ignorant ass alien. Stay cold then, stupid. I gotta care.
Insane and wonderful and complex, and it's entertaining. It's entertaining as all get out. Today we're going to talk about some fashion. That's right. And I got to tell you right off the top of the show, got to put this out there. This is just, speculation. We'll say things that come together, one thing after another thing. I learned something, and then it brings me to another thing that I learned, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be interesting if? So, I'm not saying anything is fact. I don't know, except for the spiritual stuff. That I know for sure. And this is a positive message. It is something that is going to make that caged bird sing. You'll know what I mean in a second, so buckle up.
I know what you mean, Jacob.
Okay, here we are. Here we are. At the end of my last video, I believe it was the Nebuchadnezzar video, or maybe the one before, I sang a little bit of a song. I said, it's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life. I don't know why I quoted it, but I did. And turns out, the next day, I then tweeted the same thing. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new, because I was trying to encourage everybody, right? Because I know, you don't gotta say anything, I know, right? Nothing is as it ever seems. I told everybody to be careful. Watch out for the big swerve that's coming. And things are going to change quite a bit. They already are. In record speed, it seems. For people that seem to be slow in real life, it just seems like everything's moving so fast, which I don't understand. But that's okay, because we're going to get through it. Let's start off, though, with the things that I noticed. Why this is something that I think more people should be paying attention to, because I've been saying for many years on the channel that life is a big movie. This is the greatest summer blockbuster of all time. You're in it, you're the star, right? Because you're the child of God who forgot who you are, and you're putting your faith in this world beastly system, which is
Derek setting you up to this,
and it's just gonna get, it's like a nightmare, right? When you have a nightmare, it has to get really bad before you finally wake up. So things, they gotta start to twist and turn before your eyes, before you say, okay, enough already. What? Teach me the truth. I want to know. I want to know what this is all about. I want you to guide me and lead me and give me some insight and give me some understanding. And I got some. And it started with Lady Gaga, of all things, right? Lady Gaga singing. She has a beautiful voice, whatever you want to say about her. She's a great actress, too. Whatever you want to say about her. She's an artist. She's got a lot of followers, like 80-something million followers, maybe more. I don't know. But grief, it's the Hunger Games. The only one. I mean, it looks like the person who designed her outfit was taking it straight from the movie. Look at this.
Is that loud?
Now, a lot of people put memes out and everything else, but I don't think anybody really took the time to explain what the Hunger Games was all about. You see, there's the Capitol. Right? Yeah. And there was an uprising. That's what the Hunger Games are about. The Hunger Games. Whew. Right, so what happened? happens was there was this big uprising against the beast system, if you will. I think it's called Pandam is the name of the place, Pandam. I don't know, I'm not a huge Hunger Games fan, but I did do a little research. Ironically, Pan, we're talking a lot about Pan, right? The goat god back from that, right? Okay, so that's their place. It's kind of like North America. Many people kind of say that that's what it is. These are a bunch of people that live very gluttonous lives and really don't care too much about the people. They're kind of people that'll be like, you know, here is our force, our large force, and you better not do anything or say anything. And by the way, I don't know why I gotta make this clear, but don't do bad things. I mean, it's like, you know, what I teach here is...
So when Pilate saw that he was gaining nothing,
love your enemies.
but
your
rather
enemies, you
that
gotta
a
love
riot
them.
was
And how do we
beginning,
love?
he
We
took
forgive. We
water
allow
and
God to work.
washed
And
his
God is
hands
working. God is working.
before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's
I
blood.
wasn't too. I was a little
See to
concerned,
it
right?
yourselves.
Because that's the whole thing with the Jacob's trouble and the. Yeah, but I said we got a couple of years. We got 3.5 years, and in a second I'm going to get back to the Jacob's trouble stuff. It's going to make a little more sense. But let's first take a commercial break. Hey, you like how I did that? I'm becoming a real YouTuber. And
So I ask
if
that
it
you
worked,
would receive this, and before you begin making
Derek,
judgments within
hey,
your
man.
own mind, which is the problem
Hey.
that mankind has, that you would
Just
continually
hanging out
refresh this
my
within
window.
your mind, and ask yourself the questions that I'll be asking you within this video over and over, and attempt to answer them in different ways. The reason is this: if there were a virus in this world, and that virus looked like us, but you couldn't tell by looking at someone's face whether they were the virus, how would a antivirus function? Well, imagine this, that since everything in the universe is sound, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word is sound, that is a vibration. It creates a vibration, and then as a result of that vibration, it creates magnetism. And as a result of magnetism, there is friction, which causes electricity and light. So these are the components that make everything possible. Everything. Everything that is possible begins with sound. So understanding that in the beginning was the Word, sound is the humming of the Father. He is literally humming everything into existence. And if he decides to stop humming, well, everything ceases to exist. So with that said, you yourself are actually sound too, which is why you are so
let me know in the
impacted by
comment
the
section.
energy and
By the way,
the
comments are very
resonance, the
important.
human
Liking and
resonance
sharing is very
of the
important. It
world.
helps the channel
So
to grow.
you can
Okay.
battle those off by creating your own energy. And I'm going to give you that example in a way. In fact, let me grab a whiteboard here. Maybe this will help you. As I've described before, an audio wave goes like this. A noise-canceling headphone simply has a microphone and receives the audio that it's receiving from the outside. And it creates a waveform in the inverse of that waveform, as above, so below, which cancels it out. It cancels out the sound as if it didn't exist, because it can't exist from an energy force one from the other. So what I'm asking you to do in being Christ is, if the energy force of this world is evil, then you become the energy force of the inverse, canceling out the evil, and the middle way becomes the ground that you now walk on, being holy ground. So this is the ancient understanding, in a nutshell, of all spirituality. All of it.
I appreciate
This is
you
what's required.
sharing that with me.
So with that said, the requirement for you to vibrate at a frequency of love and to avoid all hate and anger is so critical, far more critical now than it has ever been, because this is how you will be judged. Because you are your own judge. In other words, the audio, the sound that vibrates from you, the frequency at which you vibrate, you might be going along to get along, going to your church every single day, but that doesn't mean that the things that your church is doing and speaking of is creating a positive frequency and fact, it's creating the frequency of the enemy.
Yeah.
So understanding that it has deviated so greatly from the original teachings of Christ and long before Christ about true spirituality and understanding who you are, that there are beings, there are heavenly beings that are around. In fact, as you've probably learned, they're underneath your feet and they're in the cosmos. So when you read in scripture on the earth or under the earth, now all of a sudden these are going to make a little bit more sense. So allowing a species to live in peace is what was attempted. But clearly, we haven't been able to live in peace. And so to judge us is to judge ourselves at this stage, because to judge us will allow us just to be who we are.
Hold on, Derek.
So if you're walking around...
Hold on. What was that? Jacob?
With the virus of the crown, when everybody was stressing out. Many birds have very symbolic meanings, like the robin, the redbreast, right? Very symbolic of being the breast being covered with the blood of Christ, some say. Others say it's a picture of Mary. We're going to get into the robin in a second. And I'm talking about birds for a reason, not just because I think birds are cool. And if you remember correctly, at the beginning, the redbreast, right? Very symbolic of being the breast being covered with the blood of Christ, some say. Others say it's a picture of Mary. We're going to get into the robin in a second. And I'm talking about birds for a reason, not just because I think birds are cool. And if you remember correctly, at the beginning of this flood that happened, right, with the virus of the crown, when everybody was stressing out, all of a sudden nests started appearing everywhere around my house. I think I had something like 12 nests at some point. At one point, I had a couple of them up there until I got scared about bird mites, and I got rid of them. And then someone threw them out. Very disturbing. But this spring, I'm sure there's going to be more nests. I'm going to get a nest on set. My point being, right, the birds, the messengers. Noah, when the flood came, he sent that dove out into the world to see, to see where it would land. That was the whole point. It's like, he wanted to see if the waters would be. So first he sent out the raven, then he sent out the dove, and Lady Gaga's wearing that dove. Now, what's interesting about that is when the dove came back with the olive branch, the olive leaf, it depends on whether or not you believe in Mandela effects, who knows, right? But it was a symbol that dry land had appeared after that the floodwaters had a base. Now, what's weird about this is that when this
or at an anger frequency, even though you might not think so because you're wealthy and everything's happy, but yet hate is in your heart, you don't get to avoid that frequency. That's where faith comes in. That you truly have to find love. And that begins first by knowing who you are and knowing how important you are in this. So let's imagine for 1 second that the antivirus would be a species that could see the frequencies that everyone vibrates at. And that their technology could understand this and could incinerate you because you were essentially the virus upon this world. The cancerous tumor that mankind has become will be removed. Make no mistake about that. This is what ancient scripture speaks of, that it must be cleansed. That this world will not be allowed to continue on the path that it is. So if you want to survive what's coming, you need to be vibrating on a much better frequency than you are. Because then you are seen as one with this place. Not of the world, but one with the source. That you are vibrating at the frequency.
I had done like a video too about the flood, right? This one.
See of the source, which is love.
Like I was inspired to share with all of you that the world outside, get into the ark. I've been telling people on the channel for a while, get into the ark, get ready, buckle up, things are gonna, right? I've been saying, don't worry, because if you seek God and you seek the kingdom of God and you love and you forgive and you walk upright, right? And you follow the rules as long as the rules don't hurt other people, because this is what God has ordained for us to go through this. You think God's not in charge? God's in charge. He's going to make a quick work of things. So this scary time that everybody thinks they're in right now, it's going to be over with, and then something new is going to be birthed out of it. In my video about Nebuchadnezzar, I talked about the stone. That is the kingdom of God that is now being birthed in the world today. But the problem is, you gotta shut down those messengers of God.
So if you continue to choose to have hate in your heart, and anger and division, make no mistake about it, you will not be passing through. There is no such thing as passing go and collecting your $200. It will end for you, and it will not end well. So with this said, I want to talk to you a little bit about why this is difficult for you. Because the things that I'm speaking is about freeing you from prison. And I've witnessed with my own eyes and with people that I know that had a very difficult time leaving prison. Imagine a man that's been in prison for 50 years and hasn't seen any of the advancements in technology. Within those prison walls, he's limited as to what he can see, hear, and the information that he has. So he's quite used to his bunk, and he's quite used to the men and the people around him, but he doesn't have access to the internet. And what TV he does have access to is a controlled media, so he sees only what the media wants him to see. He doesn't get the opportunity to hear these truths that we speak every single day. So, with that being said, he's also been programmed when to pee, when to sleep, when to wake up, when to eat. So everything about him, when he gets out of that prison, is a problem, because that programming doesn't comply with a new environment, and that new environment gives the illusion of far more choice. Now, don't get me wrong, there is quite a bit more choice on the outside than there is on the inside. But it is a choice that is also dictated to you, so it's just a different level of prison. It's like going from a level 4 prison to a level 1 prison.
I'm sorry, Derek. Continue.
That religions dictate, everything that the masses, the majority of people dictate, is a robotic language. You choose what is popular. You choose what is told, what you're told is popular and important. You're told what is important. You're told who to vote for. And yes, they create the illusion of division between two political parties who do the exact same things, yet you think that your arguments are valid and arguing one for the other like it's going to change anything. Has it ever? Never has and it never will. Stop arguing politics. It is pointless. Stop.
Trump's going to come back. Trump's going to come back and be our president. Watch. I bet. I guess.
The enemy and all of the powers that are in play currently right now are going to make.
I guarantee that's my guess.
Because this is their
that
job.
it won't happen.
But know that what we're about to face here is a battle of epic proportions, things that you can't even comprehend. Unless you're in the spiritual self, unless you are in touch with your higher self, you will not survive what is about to come. Unless you are living in love and fleeing from anger and hate, you will not survive what is about to come.
What about
Doubt.
Jacob?
If you're part of the beast system, right? You gotta cage those birds. Can't let those birds sing.
To what you
Even though I'm singing, baby.
La 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 la!
Welcome back. So clearly, the Hunger Games starts after there's an uprising. So of course, everybody's gonna look like they're in the Hunger Games. Or Handmaid's Tale. Some people say that. Everybody dressed in purple too. So a lot of people saying, oh, it's this and it's that, and it's just a lot of spooky things. This is all spiritual stuff, by the way. The woman is a spirit, and it's on the many waters. It's not just about one literal person, but yes, there may be literal people that'll stand up, that will play this role, that will be messed up people, that'll do some pretty horrible things, so that you wake up. For those people that are lost and trapped in the world, you need worldly nonsense to wake you up, right? But those that are seeking the Spirit of God and the Kingdom of God, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They'll be fed, right? Just like when Israel was in the wilderness and they missed the flesh pots, right? I miss bowling, and I miss bingo night, and I miss, right, they miss the flesh pots of Egypt. They do. And they're like, how am I going to get food? But food always arrived. Food always arrived. That's why you got to be grateful. I shared that, by the way, on the community. I share poems here and there, you know. And while we're talking about stuff that I share, because I have essays and go to my website too, please. It's in, I think it's in this corner over here, jacobisrael.com. Click subscribe. They're the lowest common denominator, fight or flight, reptilian brain. They're following the devil because the devil knows his time is short, because this wicked spirit spreads its wing and humanity has become its prisoner. That's a line, by the way, in my novel that I wrote years ago that's being re-released for this day. And that line was written for the day that we're in, which is interesting. That's why I think releasing the book now is just perfect, because it just turned out to be exactly what the novel was about. So strange. And that snares. Guess what Joseph Biden's middle name is? Robinette.
What?
Robinette.
Are you serious?
It's like news.
Are
what
you
the chances?
serious?
Are
you serious?
Birds and net snares. Guess what Joseph Biden's middle name is? Robinette.
Derek, did you know that? Did you know that, Derek?
Robinette.
What?
Why would you attempt to consume something?
It's just like news. What are the chances?
What are the chances? It's insane
So
that
I'd
now
like to
Robin's the president. I mean, Joe Robin.
of you being removed from this prison. You're still looking for somebody to tell you what to do.
What am I supposed to do
You're
next,
still
Derek?
looking for me to give
Huh?
you a rule or a law.
What about you,
It's not
Jacob?
going to happen. Because once you're in touch with the source, you'll understand that the evaluation of what is right and wrong is always based in love. It isn't for you to judge. Currently, right now, it's far more important for you to forgive. Far more important, because that is the only way that you'll actually be able to feel the benefit of love within you. So as to things that we're going to be discussing with the Hopi prophecy and going to visiting the Hopi people and helping you understand what is under the earth and what is above the earth and where we're at and what this earth really looks like right now and why it does.
Chances.
How long.
What are the chances I'm seeing this and then there's Robinette?
And all of a sudden,
And then like
Robinette-
right after it, you know, we hear this.
Robinette is Biden. Robinette is President Biden, related to namesake of this Akron Street. Robinette? I get it, yeah. I get it, it's pretty funny.
Has it looked like that? And
Did you
who was
set
here
him up to
before
that,
us and who was here
Derek?
before them? And who are these people? What are the Anunnaki? And why do the Hopis speak of them as the Ant people? So these things are going to be answered, and we're going to get into those details. I'm going to help you understand what the moon is and what the earth is and what this system is, because make no mistake about it, the advancements of technology of the people that actually control this is far greater.
Jacob's trouble stuff. It's going to make a little more sense. But let's. Is good, whatever. Name is. Robinette.
What?
Robinette.
Oh,
This is like news. What are the chances?
I know.
What are the chances I'm seeing this and then there's
It's good
Robinette.
that Robin became president,
Robinette.
right?
And then like right after it, you know, we hear this.
What is that street? Robinette and Tall Maid? Tall Man's? Man-made?
Biden Jr., born in Scranton, Ohio. And ironically, his son's name is Hunter. Hunt her.
Hunt her.
Hunt.
Hunt her.
Hunt. The hunt is on. I do remember doing a video about that. But once again, are we going to trust in the Lord? Are we going to be scared? Are we going to be singing praises? Because, you know, really, the story goes that God's kingdom is being established. And if God's kingdom is being established, look, a lot of people came against Israel, but what happened to them? Huh? Everybody's so scared. What happened to the enemies of Israel? They didn't have to do nothing to get into Jericho. Think about this. Yeah, just walk around. Yeah, 7 times. Shout, sing praises, blow the trumpet. Blow the trumpet. Blow the horn.
Run around that track 7 times.
The walls come down. You inherit the land. Even you're looking at giants. You're looking at giants with all their military and everything else. If they're corrupt, if God didn't place them there to do godly things,
has been dictated to you. It has nothing to do with the truth. All of the truth has been concealed from you, so you're not aware of these things. Your options have been given to you, much like the president has the option to choose the head of the Federal Reserve, right? No, he doesn't. He's given a list of 4 names and told to choose who from that list he would pick. It doesn't matter which one he picks, they're all the same. It's created in that way so that you have the illusion that the president somehow picks. He doesn't get to choose his brother-in-law because he thinks he's good at finance. The reserve is simply an arm of the beast system and the ruler of this world. He picks, and he dictates it. He just feeds you enough of the truth so that you believe all of his lies. So, as we continue to progress, I want you to begin to try to comprehend that if someone could look down on this earth and see every single person's frequencies and what they are vibrating at, it doesn't take a lot.
I wonder if that one person can be is you, Derek.
This is judgment, and I urge you to be in love. Be in love. Find love with your brothers and sisters because we are all one body.
I know. No matter how annoying they are, I get it. I still love you guys.
Seek out to destroy
All of this,
anything that would choose
even to
destroy
the
them.
least of the
So once
the least of the
body is
least.
visible, judgment
I love you.
will come. So I'm asking you, become the body of love because time is awfully short.
Thanks, Derek.
the Lord will deal with them. You won't have to. So there's no need for an uprising, right? Like so many of the people on YouTube like to say, oh, you're not doing enough, you're not. What am I supposed to do, all right? What am I supposed to? I'll tell you what I did. I saw my neighbor had some siding issues. He just moved into the neighbor. I gave him my ladder. That's what I do.
Who, Jacob?
I do nice things for
You gave him
people.
Jacob's
You know what
ladder?
I do? My neighbors across the street, they're Muslim. They moved into the neighborhood. I want them to feel loved. You know what I did? I went to mosque with them. That's right. Some people may have a problem with that. I don't, because I serve the living God. I serve the one true God. So I can...
Where they'd have been thrown out of town, but most likely killed. And this is precisely why Jesus had to speak so cryptically. Yahushua is his name. I will use Jesus for those that never knew the name of Yahushua. But it's important that we begin to use the proper name. Because using the wrong terms indicates that you're sold out to the system. So it's not that it's important, and it's not about being anti-Christ, not even in the least. Because as I've said before, Christ is a spiritual office. It's a position that you obtain when you have denied yourself and recognized who you truly are. That you were before the foundation of this world. You're a spiritual being, trapped in clothing of skin. Which is why the God in Genesis clothed you in skin and made you an animal, so he clothed you in death. He basically
yogi, I can go to this, and I can still share the light of the Lord. And guess what happens?
What happened?
Guess what happens? Because I showed that love. They're drawn to me, and then the system goes, and then they go right back to the kingdom of God where they came. There's only one Lord, one God, one baptism, one Spirit that's in all and through all. And you think that just because things look a little spooky, you think you're going to be in trouble, you think you're not going to make the mortgage, you think you're not going to make rent, you think you're going to lose it. Who cares? It's going to be okay. As long as you're getting this right, and you're getting this right. So now for the good news, right? So I was concerned a while back, right? When that eclipse happened and all that stuff happened in December. The time of Jacob's trouble has begun, right? Well, this is the time when Jacob wrestles. This is the time when he wrestles. And at the end, you know when the wrestle stops? You know when the fight stopped? You know when it stopped? When the day was breaking. The dawn. Now, this strikes me as interesting because the night before last, before I'm writing this show, before all the pieces somehow magically come together, I don't know how they come together, they just do. They just lay themselves out for me, and then I come here and I have a little bit of time before I go to work, so I share it with all of you. Breaking Dawn. It was just on. I was watching, I was like, oh, I remember this. The vampires and wolves. It's like a little cheesy, but it was Breaking Dawn. Interesting, right? Interesting. And then, of course, I stopped that video. I sang at the end of the video. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new light. Then I put the tweet out, it's a new dawn. I don't know why I was doing it. Just came out. Just came out. Sometimes things happen. At the end of this incredibly talented poet, Amanda Gorman, right? I got to say these things because whatever he's saying, she is talented. I wasn't at the inauguration saying my poem, right? But listen, this is beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, right? You get out of the fear when the light's there. Aflame and unafraid. This is a good poem. The new dawn blooms as we free it. I would say the new dawn blooms when the Lord makes it, but that's okay. We'll just say the new dawn blooms when we step into it, right? Okay? For there is always light if we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Now that's a beautiful thing. Does it matter that Oprah gave her a caged bird on her hand? I don't know. Does that mean that, the system is going to try to stifle the truth of God? I don't know. I think it's been doing that a long time. I think it's been driving people to all the wrong places. And that's why it's interesting that all the wrong places seems to be shutting down. But I think they're going to start opening them up again. We're going to see what happens. This is a very interesting time. It's a time to be encouraged. And it's on track, right? Like I said,
you will see. And this is precisely why Christ taught the disciples and said, for it's been granted to you to understand the secrets of the kingdom. To the other, they'll just hear parables. So it's important that you memorialize what I'm saying in your heart. The word says, write the word on your heart. Because pretty soon, you won't have it. And you won't get the truth. It won't be made available. Things are granted to you so they can be taken away, and you'll accept it. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Freedom. You have free speech. There's consequences to everything. But you've always had free speech. No one granted it to you. The mere fact that they say that they've granted it to you